Hello YouTube, it's Lion here with Hobbies of a Man once again, and today we're going to do another manga review. Now today's manga we're going to be reviewing is Spice&Wolf. This is volume 1. This is released by Yen Press. It's written by Isuna Hazakura. The art is by Keito Kobe, and the character designs are by Yui Ayakura. This is originally a light novel. I got a manga adaptation. The genres here are romance and adventure. Like I said, this is adapted from a light novel, and it has anime. And yeah, so the premise here is this traveling merchant right there meets this goddess of the harvest, or well, technically I guess she's more of a spirit of a harvest, while traveling, doing his merchant work, and she decides to join him essentially because she's no longer needed at the village she resides in because human technology has advanced well enough that her blessing is no longer necessary, essentially. Or maybe you could say that it's because her blessing brought better human technology, and now she's no longer necessary because she kind of doesn't need to be there anymore because humans are finally able to do it by themselves. So there is a little bit of an interesting, man versus God kind of setup here. But I don't really think it plays out that much beyond the original introduction of the character. And yeah, so I look at 5 things in my reviews. I look at plot, character, world building, art, and fan service. The first 3 are my objective take, or as close as objective as I can be. And the art and the fan service are basically my opinion, and then a warning if people are not into it. So yeah, let's just jump into it. The plot here is solid. I mean, I wouldn't say that it's all that great, and I don't really know what the overarching plot is. Besides, since it's romance, we can assume that the plot line is the development of love between Lawrence and Hollow. Lawrence is the merchant, and Hollow is the spirit of the harvest. And then we can assume that they're gonna have, some sort of trials and tribulations of the heart, But I don't really know what the plot line of the first volume of the light novel is. But judging from what I've read of the manga, I would say that it's a kind of like a slightly political plot line that we're following here. Basically, there's some changes happening to the mint, like the coin. And they're trying to figure out if this is happening for real or not, because Lawrence can profit off it in a certain way. Basically, they're kind of... merchants can kind of game the system because this is, cast coins made of silver. If the currency changes and he pockets the old one and then melts it and then resells it, he can make more money off of it, which is explained in the book, so it's not difficult to follow. But yeah, it's not super heavy, and it's not really all that plot driven, this book. It feels a lot more character driven. Obviously, it's a romance, so that kind of makes sense. And yeah, so next is the characters. They're both really good. Lawrence is kind of like a solid, quiet type that's a good man kind of character. I don't really know what to call that. He's sly and cunning enough as a merchant. He has to be, but he's not that shifty, I guess. Hollow is a wolf spirit that has power over the harvest, and she is definitely sly and cunning and smug about her superiority based on the fact that she's like ancient, essentially, which is an interesting take on a wolf. I always feel that foxes are more like the sly, cunning animal, but she's a wolf, not a fox, so I think that's a little different. I think in Western civilization, wolves are generally more thought of for strength and hunting power and that sort of thing, and foxes are kind of like the sly, cunning, shifty kind of characters. But it's an interesting take, and I like it. I don't know if it's because it's an Eastern take on wolf symbolism, or if it's because the author just wanted a wolf instead of a fox, because it kind of makes more sense in the context of where she is from, like a deep forest. So yeah, I don't know about that. But yeah, Hollow is really fun. She's like flirty, and she's not conniving. She's not mean, but she's definitely very teasing. She really enjoys playing with Lawrence, and she has a few special attributes that really help her out. dealing with humans. And she's obviously very intelligent. She's Hollow the Wise Wolf, so obviously she's going to be smart. Although being smart and being wise are kind of different things, but she's definitely both. So yeah, the world building is actually pretty good. There are some questions risen about the fact that she's called a goddess by the people of the village, but she says she's not, but she has powers that normal people don't, and she has control over an element of nature. So how is she not a goddess, And I posed this on Twitter as well. Is she a werewolf or a spirit that can, like a spirit of a wolf that can take human form for the sake of, interacting with humans? Because she has the ability to switch back and forth. So I was like, well, that's kind of a werewolf. But I guess if she has, further power over stuff, then she would be a spirit instead of just a regular werewolf. But that's just kind of my take. I don't know if that really matters. There are questions about what gods are in this series. If Hollow is considered a god, but not by herself. And, Kyle, I think it was, Captain Kyle from the Light Novel Podcast, gave me a lot of lore that I don't think I should share with you guys because of spoilers. Kind of explaining that, and that's kind of where my questions come from. But yeah, I think it is still addressed in this novel and in this manga, and it's something that critical readers might pick up on and be like wondering about. But that's basically it. There's really no one important besides Lawrence and Hollow, so that's it for them. The art is good. I don't really like the way their faces are structured. I don't know if it's because it reminds me too much of like the really pointy old school style that I don't enjoy, or what it is about them, but I just don't really enjoy how their facial structures are made. Although their expressions are really quite good, actually. Their body proportions and the way that their bodies are drawn is also pretty good. No complaints there, but, just their faces don't really jive with me, I guess. And the fan service, well, there's a lot of Hollow being naked, but I don't know if it's necessarily fan service because it's not always sexualized. A lot of it is just her being an animal and not wanting to wear clothes because animals don't need clothes. Humans don't really need clothes either, except that we prefer to use them for the sake of comfort. Whatever. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. I rate this a 4 out of 4, or a 4 out of 5, or an 8 out of 10. I think it was a solid book and I really enjoyed it, but I can't say that it was really that great. Well, I can't say that it was great, but I can't say that it was really completely satisfying because there wasn't enough of a story to it. Because manga is serialized, and so it's not necessarily always going to finish the plot lines and plot threads. So, yeah, I think I need to read the light novels, the first volume of the light novel, and then compare, and then go from there what I want to read. Because I am usually more of a fan of light novels instead of the manga adaptations. But I don't know. If this is a shorter read than the light novels, then I might pick up this instead. Just to kind of have, to be caught up with other people, if that makes sense. Like, to be able to engage in discussion about the book. But yeah, I definitely recommend this if you guys are interested in a romance story that features, merchant stuff. And I can't really think of anything similar to it, so kind of fall short on that. But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. Please comment down below and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And if you guys could hit the like button, that'd be super awesome as well. And let me know if you've read the manga and the light novel, which one is better and which one's kind of more enjoyable. If I remember correctly, the manga only has 17 volumes and the light novel has 22. And there's also a sequel series. But I don't really know much more about that besides that. Are there any other light novels that feature kind of economy and capitalism in them? I mean, Vite features country building, and I think Realist Hero also kind of does as well, but through like a different lens. So I don't know. I'm kind of interested in that sort of subject, and it's not something I really read in like, Western novels. So I'd be interested in checking it out. So if you guys have any recommendations, please leave them down below. And like I said, thank you guys very much for watching. See you guys later.